Ad astra per aspera. By the way, I'm gonna shut up for a while, because this song, though... Just enjoy, friends, before I get into what this is gonna be all about, other than, obviously, playing the game. I'm just sitting here with a smile on my face. This song's awesome. And this fucking drop, though. I love that. I have to let that play every time to at least this point before I play this game at all. And I've played it quite a bit. I haven't beaten it because if anyone here has tried to beat this game, you know that this motherfucker is convoluted to beat. You have to do some wacky shit to get to the end of this game. Some really weird, convoluted stuff. It's not straightforward at all. But I'm gonna be doing my best to do that throughout the course of this, and use all the guides and stuff and brain power that I have to do it. But it's gonna be a while before that even really factors in anyway, as far as gameplay hours go. This game is really unique if you don't know about it, and I'm really, hyped to be sharing it here, because I think this game is underrated as fuck, and that it's amazing. It's really interesting. I want to call it a visual novel, but it really, at its core gameplay-wise, it's like a single-player mafia/werewolf type game, if you know what that means. Like, that whole liar sniffing outing or being the liar game thing. But it's single-player. It's mechanically very deep, and I'd say both that system itself and the nuances in specific that it adds to that type of gameplay, and also just... The thing is that I said that's the gameplay at its core, but it's really interesting, because the core of the gameplay is that you play those games, yes, the werewolf game, it really is like you're, just setting up a game of that, right? Where at a certain point it is, but for a while it's tutorialized because there's more nuance to it than, your normal type of game like this would be. Also, Town of Salem, I think it's called. If any of you have played that online, and I've done some, it's that kind of thing too, if you're not, aware of werewolf or Mafia, but are aware of that. But yeah, so, it's really it's that, but it's much more intricate than that as far as its core. It has a core narrative that it wraps up in that, and the fact that you're looping through the same, scenario where you're trying to sniff out these liars called Gnosia, but it's these deadly beings called Gnosia. Where, I don't know, the narrative itself is so interesting and so branching because of the nature of it, and it's hard to even describe. Especially without spoiling specific core things that I think are, huge spoilers. So, I guess we'll just get right into it to start with, actually. And I'll start explaining more things as they come up, because it's so hard to sit here and quantify what this game is. It's a really unique thing. So, let's start a new game, and by the way, you're not going to see any... Actually, wait, you might see one thing I did start. Yeah, a very early save. Because I tried to start this Let's Play once before. But before that, I did a whole-ass playthrough. I say whole-ass. I did hundreds and hundreds of hours and didn't finish the game and got burned out on it because I didn't understand. And I was stubborn about looking up anything. Now I know a little bit more about what I need to do. But again, the point where you need to start doing those weird things is a ways in. So I'm just going to start the game for now, see what happens at first. Alrighty, frienderinos, without further ado, let's get started in this fucking weird journey. Now, similar to an RPG-type system, we actually have the ability to input a name, sex, ability scores, similar to kind of like a tabletop RPG-type system, and actually choose a color, which we'll be going with blue, because if you haven't figured by, watching my channel, probably not very much at all, or probably more likely just looking at my darn profile picture where I'm a blue Dergony. I like blue a lot. Especially dark blue, like right here. Which is why I didn't choose a light blue, obviously. So, these are interesting. Again, they all affect different variables when playing the game, and you basically play a Werewolf Mafia type game and you try for different outcomes. You're not necessarily trying to win either. It's interesting. And we'll get to why that is in a while, I think. But yeah, as far as gameplay hours, we'll see though. I don't remember exactly when it starts, like, being aware. You start being aware of that. But yeah, this is already, it already starts out in a way, especially narratively, way deeper, you know, like, it has, like, again, it's a story wrapped around these mechanics. It's so interesting. But I'm gonna stop rambling about that until we start to get to the specifics of it in the game itself. But for the moment, so I jacked up intuition so much my first playthrough, and then I think I started on charisma and also charm, and I'm gonna try to basically reverse those. Like, I'm thinking, okay, intuition is nice because you can literally snuff out liars, and the liars are normally the Gnosia or the people working with them. But there's kind of a caveat to that. It's an interesting... If you know who the liar is, that does not mean that you can just eject them the moment you know they're a liar. Other people will not believe you. The liar can very easily get other people on their side oftentimes. Like, it's not the absolute most useful thing in the world always to know who the liar is. It's really interesting. It's extremely interesting the way that they did that. Like, all of these things help you, especially if you lean on them gameplay-wise in order to achieve what you need to achieve in a given game. Okay, so I'm also... I definitely want to... I'm pretty sure you can't add more than, like, a couple. No, I can literally dump it all into intuition if I want. I don't know, you know why? Because I still like the idea of being able to see who the liar is. But oftentimes you will know who the liars are, and will know why. Like, you know, if you're on the side of the liars, you'll know who they are usually. And if other people are lying, you'll know they're on your side too. So that, you know, for half of the game, pretty much, it's not the most useful thing. So I'm not going to lean on... I'm going to actually ignore intuition, see what else I can do. I'm going to actually specifically go... I think I definitely put a bunch into logic. I don't think I ever really mess with performance. Better liar helps you more efficiently get your point across. I never really realized exactly, like... Because I know that, like, basically you unlock very helpful skills throughout the game by leveling up these stats, and I'm not sure I ever got to many of the performance-related ones, if I got to many of the, I think, logic-related ones as well, which the higher-level ones of those I feel like are pretty helpful. I also kind of want to start going stealth, because I never really went stealth very much at all. It's hard for others to pick up on your malicious intent, and makes Gnosia less likely to target you. But yeah, like, I'm not going to sit here and read them all, because y'all can read the others that I'm not going to talk about right now, because I mostly want to leave that for when I, like, my explanations as to why I put X and Y later. Then, you know, that way we'll steadily cover them all, and I'm not sitting here for a billion years talking about how all these play into the game, because also I'll probably only really start remembering a lot of that when I start playing again. So when I actually start, when we really get into the game, which arguably is a while, because there's a tutorial section for a good few loops, first off, that limit your capabilities and the mechanics thrown at you to get you used to the game. So for the moment, you know, I never dumped these into these, because I was like, I want to be a good guy, and you can't really do that. You have to play both sides in this game. That's kind of a heartbreaking thing about it. But yeah, let's just dump... Let's see what happens if I dump 3 into stealth and 2 into performance. Because these are the ones I did not care about. I feel like logic is a close second, and I might want to do 6 and 6 for that. But like charm, intuition, charisma, I dumped so many points into those. So I'm basically trying the opposite to start with. But again, like, these meager point bonuses are not going to matter until we start getting more everything. So... And also, I don't remember when we started unlocking skills, but it's not for... I don't really think you can even unlock a skill even if you dump 10 into something, 5 into something, and I don't think you should do that. I think it slightly increases the odds of certain things the more you put into it. Although, granted, the more games that you play, it honestly starts to feel like it really doesn't affect super much, except for the skills that you get from leveling. So the more I think about it, because I think that's right, you can also decrease them. You know what? What if I literally I am the least intuitive here we go. Which is funny because I consider myself pretty intuitive in real life. But yeah, let's min-max the absolute fuck out of this. Like, because I never did that. Like, I'm curious, how does that work? More amicable, less likely to be selected for cold sleep. But yeah, I want to put some in charm because, actually, the more I think about it, I'm like, okay. See, this is obviously very powerful, but what would happen if my charisma was 1, but I dumped it into, like, something like... Okay, let's pull back the points for a moment, because, like, hard for us to pick up mission intent and Gnosia less likely to target you. I really do feel like I want to play the Gnosia side more, because for a long time I stuck so hard with not playing the Gnosia side more or less that I kind of got so... I really needed to do more Gnosia things in order to progress at all. So I'm gonna start by, I think, playing more Gnosia side when I can start doing that, which you'll see when that happens. Funky Durgan go weird. Man, I'm really thinking about this, but it's because I really care about this game. And I really care about, like, just kind of exploring what it means if I dump... I'm gonna maybe regret the fuck out of this. But, no, you know what? Intuition's the only one I'm gonna do that with. I'm too scared to put other things down, because this game can be brutal as far as the RNG seems to be concerned. So I really want to put things in my favor here a little bit. So let's leave stealth there for now. Let's also, less likely for cold sleep, less likely for Gnosia to target you. Because, well, survival is really important. Reaching the end of games is how, not always, but often you get things rolling. You get some basically events unlocked, and those are what keep the story going. I have no idea how viable this is. I'm still not really gonna try to look up guides about, like, how my stats should be, especially because, honestly, you can, as far as I'm aware, max out everything if you really wanted to just play a mini. Like, I think you could literally play infinite games and just max out everything eventually, but it would take longer than I even played before. I don't think I'd recommend that, because apparently you can play quite a few less loops than I did and get the ending, but apparently, or endings, I don't quite remember how that works, and I won't even look it up until it starts to be relevant, because that will be a while. Anyway, friends, this is what we're going with for now, and my name, as I name everything on the channel, for a very obvious and non-creative reason, is Dergy. As you can see by the fact that Dergy is the first suggestion that it comes up with, because I name all my everything Dergy in every video game.